Good morning, YouTube. This is ITG Finance, and this is our daily Forex trading session. We are live trading the Forex market, and I just want to go through a couple disclaimers. Thank you for being here if you're watching this video from the playlist. This is for entertainment purposes only. I'm not giving financial advice or trading advice. If you want to follow along, trade at your own risk, but I am not suggesting that you follow my trading method. I'm a beginner trader. This whole series is about me recording my sessions so that I can learn from them and maybe share a little knowledge along the way. I'll just tell you about our little setup this morning on the 1 hour. I'll show you the 1 hour. This morning we had this this big downturn, so we're in a downward trend according to the HMA. And right now we're just seeing if it's gonna take this support resistance area down here and stick to it. Right, it could use any of this area as a resistance zone between these two lines. So, but on the 15 minute, it's a downtrend, and on the 1 minute we have a little bit of a pullback right here. But even during normal market movement, we would expect a little bit of a pullback after such a long run. So we'll see if it's gonna come up and then break back to the downside and continue this downward push, or if this is going to retrace and work its way back up into these levels. Since the hour and the 15-minute trend are sell, I'm going to be working my way into sells as the market kind of comes up and then goes back down. And we'll see how that works for us. Looks like the average is about 6 pip price cycle this morning, but it's been getting wider and wider as the market moves. So we'll see if that stays true as we get into some higher volatility when the U.S. market's open. Market's slowing down a little bit, so kind of see what the price does here, which way it wants to go. Doesn't really know what it wants to do right now. Just kind of bouncing around. It's not good for scalping. I imagine it's going to come down to this position here and, may retrace a little bit before coming back down, but it'll be a positive sign if this candle closes below this line right here. Kind of getting a double top up here. It's kind of hard to take technicals on a 1 minute chart, but it's usually a pretty good sign of downward momentum. HMA just turned to red, so now we have full alignment for the 1 hour, the 15-minute, and the 1 minute chart. So weird. Look at how full these bars are, right? You got some wicks, but you at least have some bars. Then all of a sudden in the market, you start getting these little bitty bars. I don't understand why that is. All the way back here, you got nice full bars, which is what I want to see. You know, I want to see the price move if we're going to sit here and watch the market. Ultimately, this is what would be nice is movement like this, where every time it comes up, you put on some sells and it hit your take profits, comes up, put on more sells, hit your take profit, put on some sells, hit your take profit. That way you can kind of make money all the way, or even somewhere in here where it's going sideways, you know, sell. You can even buy, you know, once it bounced off a couple times, you can take a couple buys and then sell, buy, sell, buy, sell. Kind of make money both directions, but you just never know when it's going to get in that pattern. We can kind of see that forming here, right? A little bit of consolidation between these two support lines. So we could go up and down here if we wanted to, but right now we don't know if we're going to get retracement or if the market's going to continue to go down. So it's a little bit of a risky proposition. Right now, all the indicators are saying that it's going to go back down, except for the stochastic on the 1 hour. Even though we have a red line, the stochastic is still way below 50. It's only 16. So if that was to move up, you know, above 50, that would definitely indicate, you know, more of a downward push. So we'll keep an eye on that. But you can see right here, it's just kind of stayed flatlined right there. No real movement either way. If this was to retrace back up to these levels, you know, I could see the stochastic getting up, you know, back towards the midpoint. See if I can get it to give us a couple pips here. Had a pretty good pullback, then a blue candle, so all right. We made a little bit of pips off of that. We are working out of a negative position that I created last night during an overnight trade setup. I feel like that's a trend in these videos. where I took an overnight setup and we were down. My long-term risk setup is usually less than 1% for the trade, the overall trade. So, or 1%, combined if it's 2 or 3 trades. But the good news is, sometimes they're right. They're right more than they're wrong. I've just been on a pretty unlucky run lately in the last 2 weeks. So if we can start catching some of those, it'll be nice to get in with a little bit of buffer in the morning. We start with 1% or whatever, and then increase our position from there. Would be nice. Between each gray line is 2 pips plus our spread, so you're looking at about 2.5 pips if I take trades. So if it was below this gray line, I'd need it to get all the way back up to this next gray line if I was to take buys, and vice versa. I could have taken some buys here, sells here, buys here, but you just don't know, right, which way you're going to get stuck. And really, you could trade your way out either way through your average positions. This candle came down. It followed through with the previous candle, pulled back up, went all the way back up here, and is now pulled back down. So knowing how the candle formed is almost as important as knowing what the candle looks like. Right. So this was the previous candle. This candle followed and then went back up. So now we're on a new candle, new hour. And we're going back down now for this little bit of a candle we have here on the 15 minutes. So this trade we put up here at the top is kind of a really good trade position. If it goes down in our favor, that's probably going to be the high point for right now, right? So as this continues to push down, if we start getting down into these lower ranges down here, right, we'll be looking to get some significant pips as it moves down. It could fall all the way back down to these support and resistance levels down here, right? 40 pips, 35 pips, 70 pips. So we'll just kind of keep an eye on it, see what it does. I always like to have a good trade in the direction I think the market's going to go, just to let it run. Now that the U.S. market's open, I'm hoping we'll get a little bit of volatility. Looks like it's going to try to bounce off of that. We'll see if it actually breaks through, but I'm going to go ahead and put just a couple of buys. See if I can get some pips off of this bounce back. This is what I was saying where you can get in trouble playing both sides, right? It broke through that resistance point where, it kind of should have bounced up and retraced a little bit. And now it's starting to push back down. But all we can hope for is that, it'll come give us our 2 pips and let us go. As it comes up, we'll put some more sells on since that's where we actually think the market's going to go. And we'll take profits both directions here. All right, there we go. Put some more sales on. This is some good stuff here, guys. Playing both directions, getting some money, getting back out. We have good trend alignment, so I feel a lot more confident about this going, in the down direction. You just never know when you have these big dips like this that cause the market to change direction. We had a major uptrend. Had a major uptrend through here, right? And then we had this big pullback and the HMA changed. Over here it was kind of a gradual pullback and then it went back up. So like I said, we'll still see what happens once we get to these support resistance levels back down here, but you just never know once you get into these situations where you have a massive market move. And you can see on the 1 minute, once we get past here, it's a little while before we get some more support. We'll be on an outside range, so Just watching the price movement here. Now we have two layers of trades on that are kind of going in our favor here. I'm going to move their take profits down to this lower resistance level here. Best case, we can just keep moving them down, moving them down, moving them down. Worst case, it comes down and takes them out. But either way, these are good things. So we have a really big push here. Wondering if we're going to get some retracement. If this was all one candle, this would be kind of an abnormal candle compared to the rest. But back here, we had plenty of abnormal candles, right? So, and then it came back up about 50%. So we'll see. We'll keep an eye on this candle. Just glad it's going in the direction we want. And like I said, once it broke out of here, there's really nothing to support it until it gets back down to these lower levels. So right now, it's just looking to see if it can get through this second line, which it looks like it's going to. Gonna get a little bit of a pullback here. Go ahead and put on another layer of cells here so we can make some profit as it pulls back up and comes back down. It's really stuck. Got some wicks on both sides, but I still think there's some downward pressure here. But we'll probably see some things like this, right? Come down, bounce around, come down, bounce around. We came down, you can see a little bit of a retracement here, and then, come back down again. What'll really be interesting is once we get down to these 895 areas, right? But these other, where these other pullbacks kind of bounced off. And then it's off to the races down here. Yeah, and I'm just going to keep pulling those two down to those lower support and resistance levels as the price moves in our favor. On the 1 minute, we really don't have any any information to go off of, so we're kind of in no man's land out here for support and resistance. But we can still keep an eye on the the 15-minute chart and just watch price action. So I want to get back in, but it's just not giving me any spots to do that, right? When it just runs like this, you don't ever know when it's gonna start bouncing around again. So what you don't want to do is you don't want to chase the money. You know, if you keep selling as it goes down, you'll be right for a little while, but then eventually it'll get to the part where it retraces, and then you'll be down with sells down here, and the price will be up here. But all these little pullbacks, I can start building into my position again. Should pull back quite a bit. Since we had this much of a downturn, the market always breathes a little bit, even if it's a hard push. As bad as it looks on the 1 hour, right? You can see that on the 15-minute, it kind of went down and then breathed, and went down and then breathed. So I wanted to put some more trades on, but I thought it was going to come up a little higher. I don't want to put trades on unless I'm 2, 3, 4 pips away from our current build-in zone. Just because if you get into heavy and it does start pulling back up to these levels, you'll be pretty far down on these trades down here. It'd be harder to work your way back out. Only because we're trying to manage our risk, right? So. And on these running trades, we're kind of lucky that we got into those early. It doesn't always happen that way. Sometimes you got to work your way into them. If we were back here and we wanted to sell, we'd have to work into this one. And that would be our running trade. But then it would come up above it. Then we'd have to get into that. That would be our running trade. Then it'd come up against us again. So we kind of got in lucky here at the beginning where this pink line started, is where I started trading. So the fact that we were able to work into the runners very early in the trade session makes it look a lot better than it normally is. Normally we'd be starting back here and, kind of working our way into the position before we got confirmation that it was going to go our direction. Maybe it just likes to chase our take profits. That'd be nice. We were able to get a couple more cells on as it pulls back here. We'll just watch it and see where it goes. This is some really good price movement. You know, I said we had these tiny candles back here, but you can see we had some really good candles, even in this consolidation, right, where we are moving up and down, which is nice to see some fuller candles in there. Getting a little heavier here just because I saw that price movement. I'm hoping it'll come down and break through those and give us some take profits. There we go. We're almost break even for the day. If we can get a couple more pullbacks and get into some good positions, that'd really be helpful. Now, what I could have done is put on 2 trades here on these pullbacks that I traded, right? Put on a couple trades, then pull one of them down to the other, take profits. Same thing here. When I took these trades, could have drug one down, could have just drug that one down. Then we'd have 3 or 4, runners. But I'm good with the 2 up here and just taking profit out of the market. as we move down. I don't have any problem with that. Start building into ourselves as we see the market bounce around here. Gosh, I can't even move the take profit before the market takes us out, which is fine. I am more than happy with, a couple 2-pip gainers, along the way. And what's nice is it moves up. I can kind of move the take profits down, so I get a couple 2-pip profit trades, a 3-pip profit trade, a 5-pip profit. So we are getting some wicks on the bottom here, which could indicate, some upward price movement, but just looks like this sell-off is kind of unrelenting today. All right. We're actually break even, a little bit positive for today. So we were able to work our way out of the, the losing trade overnight. We have a couple runners on, and we're positive pips and positive returns. So we've been trading for about an hour, so I'm gonna go ahead and end the video here. But I appreciate you coming and watching. Please like, subscribe, leave a comment. Let me know your thoughts. Again, this is for entertainment and educational purposes only. I'm videoing my trading session so that I can learn from these as I grow as a trader. And I appreciate you being here. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.